What's up, good people? Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. I hope everybody's had a great day. It's amazing what a win will do for your psyche. You know, it's been rough. I'm going to say the 6 weeks leading up to yesterday's game and going into that game, I'll be honest, I didn't think the Cowboys had a chance. I thought the Commanders with the left hands up, and they realized they forgot to put their deodorant and they needed to put it back down because they stink. Being healthy and our team literally being like a mass unit, that I was just like to my dad, and shout out to my dad. My dad, actually, partially my dad and me making a mistake. My dad said he was going to take the Ravens, give up the 3.5 points, and he was going to take the under. And I messed up, and by accident, I took the over, which turned out to be right. So he got 2 wins tonight. So, Dad, you know, congratulations. That means the last 6 bets he's had on BetUS, he has won. So he's feeling pretty good right here. It might be a happier Christmas if things keep going that way. But be that as it may, we have the Cowboys, and we have Cowboy fans that are pissed off. You know, no matter what happens, everybody gets mad at me. And I've got now Eagle fans that are mad at me because I threw shade before the season on Saquon. I got 49er fans that are mad at me because, well, they're just mad in general. I get emails left and right where they literally cuss me out and so on and so forth. I got people that come in and tell me I'm this, that. Yeah, it's just like, come on, people. Why you got to be full of so much hate? My opinion is just my opinion. I don't control anything in your life. I don't control anything with the 49ers, the Eagles, or anybody else. Just look at me as the village idiot and don't pay attention if it's not something you want to hear. You ain't got to put hate behind it. It's my own personal opinion. And the last time I checked, we did have freedom of speech. I thought we had freedom of speech. Now, if it changes, let me know. So here's the thing. I've had this thought in the back of my mind about the Cowboys and Dak Prescott, because it's still, the Cowboys didn't do anything to help Dak Prescott. And in my mind, I can't think that Dak Prescott, with all of the endorsements that he's had in his career, with the money for his last contract, that getting a max contract was the only thing that was driving him. In my mind, the idea and the concept would be is winning a Super Bowl, where he has dreamed of always being a quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys. But we know the Cowboys didn't do anything, and we had Jerry Jones saying, Dak's got to do more with less. Okay. Mike McCarthy, for a man who's on the hot seat, he don't look like he's a man on the hot seat. Maybe he is gone at the end of the year. But I feel like the Cowboys had a meeting of the minds, like before the season, and said, you know, Dak, CD, you know, we're not going to do anything this year. We're going to clear the cap. You know, we're going to let this contract expire. We're just going to bring in mediocre talent. We'll play as good as we can. And if it ends up being a bad season, we'll get high draft picks like we did in 2015. You know, after the 2015 season, we'll clear out cap space. And, you know, when you here's the thing. You get a lot of misinformation. I was looking at, and somebody got mad at me because Colin Cowherd was doing a thing. It ended up getting copywritten and got cut out of the video. But he was saying the Cowboys need to move on to Dak because his contract is hamstringing them from being able to do anything. They need to move on, draft Secure Sanders, and start all over. But see, Tiara, shout out to Tiara, she told me to pull up this video of Jeff Kavanaugh from 3 weeks ago, where he was explaining the cap. You know, he broke it down completely with the triggers. Now, I hadn't seen what the restructuring triggers were, but I assumed that we were going to get about, with CD and Dak's numbers, that they could restructure and easily get $40 million. Okay? We have $21 million in cap space right now that they're not going to spend They're going to roll that over to next year with the 20 million that's there. Currently, as we said, all of the people that are on the roster for next year, and that is including Zach Martin, Brandon Cooks, and who else am I missing? Zach Martin, Brandon Cooks, and D-Law, with their expired contract, which has void money in there, with Micah Parsons' fifth-year contract, that's $17 million, with Dak Prescott, who's an $89 million hit, as well as CeeDee Lamb, who's a $35 million hit. Without doing anything, the Cowboys have $41 million. And what people don't understand is, typically when the season ends and by the time we have to get to the beginning of the league year, the Cowboys have to either cut people or restructure, because usually we're like $25 million over the cap going into a next season. The Cowboys are going to be over $40 million. And they have it set up. I didn't realize on Over the Cap that when you do the cuts, they also have the restructuring that's already built into contracts. Dax is like $38 million and CD's like $15 million that they could go ahead and get. So you're looking at the Cowboys potentially having $100 million of cap space. $100 million of cap space. And having a third place schedule and having higher draft picks than what they've been having, because they've been a playoff team the last 3 years. We're usually drafting at the late round, 25, 27, things like that. So your second round pick is almost like a third round. Well, this year, you might be 10. You might be 10. You might be 12. You might be 8. I don't know exactly where. But if you get back some of these players that you have, and you get experience with some of these young guys, you could actually be in for an opportunity to really make a run. And see, Jeff Kavanaugh pointed out that the Cowboys basically have years, avoidable years, on Dak and CD's contracts to like 2032. My God, 2032. That's 7 years from now. I'll be 66 years old. Damn. Anyway, that they can push that money off onto. So basically, next year, and the year after, and the year after, you could potentially have tons of money to try and do something. And maybe, just maybe, this is 2016, where you drafted Dak, where you got Zeke, and after a 4-12 season, you ended up being a juggernaut. That's a possibility. I still have problems with what Jerry and Stephen Jones do. I still have concerns about that. And maybe, maybe the idea was we've been stuck in a rut for so long where we just keep trying to add a few more pieces and getting over the hump. As you realize, the best thing to do is let everything reset. We got our quarterback. We got a great wide receiver who's grown up this year. We have a generational talented, linebacker in Micah Parsons that they can get signed to. And everybody, well, you can't get it. You can get all these guys signed. You got Tyler Smith and things that you got to get signed as well. And I think Jake Ferguson is another one. But you can get these guys signed and potentially draft some premium players and potentially go in and get some other ones. Because, when I listen to, here's what I find funny is, when I listen to Rio ranting about, Noah Brown, man, he's a bum, he's not, we're giving all these targets to this guy and everything else and stuff. But when Dak had him as his number 2 receiver a couple of years ago, people were saying he's got great talent. He's not elevating the people around him. Now, I love Jalen Tolbert. But he's not a top-tier number 2 wide receiver. I think he'd be a great number 3 receiver for us. And that's where you look at it, and I wonder, so everybody, as Bad Dog was sitting there basically saying Dak sucks, he's not doing anything in the playoffs. You're supposed to elevate everybody. What's funny is how when Dak Prescott's not out there, when Dak Prescott's not playing for the team usually takes a nosedive. But when Dak's out there, he at least gets us to the playoffs. And I would take that argument, everybody just says, you can't say anything bad about Dak. No, you can say bad things about Dak. My point being is, we had 3 years in a row of 12-win seasons. 3 years in a row. Look back over the course of the last 30 years and tell me how many times we had back-to-back playoff runs. We didn't. That's not Dak. That's the way the organization goes about business. So maybe, just maybe, the rest of this year is finding players. You looked at yesterday, I figure without Tyler Smith and Zach Martin out there, there's no chance we were going to stop Washington. And yet here it was, Brock Hoffman and, my brain is, Cooper Beebe and, can't remember the other guy's name. The interior of the Cowboys' offensive line might have played the best that it has all season. So maybe there's a little spot for some optimism for next year if the Cowboys play their cards right. Anyway, it's been a great evening, and I appreciate everybody. It's a short week. Cop Pizzle, I'm sure it's going to be hitting me some tomorrow. So you only got tomorrow and Wednesday. Thursday, hopefully it'll be an ass kicking against the Giants. And then we get a break. Alrighty, good people. Make sure you tell the people you love how much you love them. Because remember, you might not get the chance again. And I love you guys. Congratulations to Casey Stewart, who's getting married and is going to have a baby. She's going to have a baby. And take care of yourselves, people. Peace out.